Hello and welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the contents in this channel. I would like to start by wishing all my subscribers a pleasant day. I'd like to thank all my subscribers for all the encouragement and all the positive comments I've been receiving the last 2 days, especially after I made the clip of all the bullying from Nicolina 777, Benjamin Keys, Leah, Stormy Nights, and the other two people who were in the panel. They had a field day of making lousy jokes about Muslims, saying horrible things, imitating the headscarf that we wear. You even had BK saying, I hate to say this, but big Muslim booties and such things. It just shows and exposes their characters and how they were raised. When you come on YouTube or social media and put yourself out there criticizing another faith, religion, race, culture, language, sexuality, whatsoever be it, it just shows what kind of a character and what kind of a moron you are. I believe people like that have no place to be on platforms where they spread bullying, hurtful, nasty comments about other religion and other people. But I'll try to avoid not discussing that today because I've done that earlier. And I wouldn't give them any more airtime or any more time on my platform. It's just a shame. It's sad because most of them have children, and most of them, like Nicolina 77 says, has a child or two children. So when she's talking so bad about somebody else's faith, it just shows, I can imagine what she says with a nasty, filthy mouth when the camera's not on her to her children. Then we wonder why there's so much hate in this world. Because if you are not a person who's open-minded, if you are not a person who respects other people's privacy, their religion, their culture, their race, automatically that is what has brought so much hate in this world. People like them on the panel who are laughing about somebody else's faith and religion are the reason that there's so much hurt, nastiness, and disgusting things going on in this world. That's why so much violence has happened when people do not have boundaries, when people do not have ethical morals, when people are not mindful of whatever comes out of their mouth. There's always consequences for it, which is really sad. So I hope they stop bullying other vulnerable groups or other vulnerable people. I watched most of the clips of Nicolina 777 and it just seems to be hate, spreading hate, whether it's about a religion, whether it's about other YouTube creators, or whether it's about people just on YouTube. That is really sad because she is definitely an uneducated person. If she was educated, she would have understood the consequences of all the hate she's spreading brings mental health illnesses to people. It brings depression, it brings anxiety, it brings PTSD, and it can even end up that some people go to the extreme of taking their own life. I hope that YouTube follows such people and watches their platforms, because when we are uploading our videos, they should be, and I hope they should be watching what we upload, including me, so that we don't spread hate or awful things. Coming coming away from that topic, which really kind of boils my blood, I would I wanted to talk about a very important thing today. It's about awareness especially for us parents with our young children. The clip that I put previously today, it's called "The Security Guard Who Spotted Missing Missouri City Girl Amani Stevens." Basically, Amani Stevens is a 10-year-old girl who lives in Missouri with her grandmother, a security guard, a good Samaritan, thank God, saw her 2:30 at night. He saw a white vehicle coming in front of the house, and the girl hopped into the vehicle. The FBI and law enforcement had to go door to door, do their investigation, and luckily they found the 10-year-old girl alive. So that is a beautiful ending, but then that is something that doesn't happen often. We as parents need to be aware of what is going on with our children, especially our youngsters, and the access they have to internet. Like we are aware of, there are all kind of psychopaths, sociopaths, criminals, sex offenders, trigger warning, and all these useless people are out there on the internet. They are there just to lure and groom young children and young teenagers and even adults. We need to be aware what our children are doing even when they're in their rooms. As a parent, including me, we all think that our children are safe as long as they're at home at a certain time, and as long as they're well fed and they're at their room. Sometimes children tell us, "Oh no, we are," especially teenagers, "close my door, I'm doing my homework, or I'm talking to a friend." Obviously, as good parents, or as parents, we usually let them be. But I believe it's important to monitor them still, because we have been children, we have been teenagers, and we know what it is like to come with white lies or lies, thinking that our parents are all over our business. But the thing is, when we were in our teenagers and young age, luckily internet wasn't that widespread, or it wasn't even around. We had beepers and mobiles that just came out, which was limited, which was very expensive. So luckily, we grew up in a safe upbringing. But I feel sorry for our youngsters these days because there is so many sick people behind keyboards, either spreading hate or either trying to lure children into human trafficking, into SO offenses, or maybe even killing them. God forbid. Thank God that 10-year-old Armani Stevens was found alive and in good health. I'm sure she must be traumatized. I'm sure her grandmother must be traumatized too. They would definitely need a lot of counseling, a lot of support from their family, loved ones, and communities. Recently, I put up a clip of 70 children, 70 youngsters that were rescued by Texas law enforcement and Homeland Security. These children were abducted from different places. Even one of the I think a 13-year-old girl was with her family, and she just went to the toilet of a baseball game or something, and she got lured away. She got abducted. It is really terrible what this world has come to. We just need to be really aware. It's sad to say, but we just have to save our children, we just have to be more occupied in their lives. And I know that brings a lack of communication, a lack of trust between our teenagers and our young children and parents. Because young adults and young children believe that they're entitled to their privacy without their parents barging into their room or bothering them. They feel like, oh, let's be honest, children and youths feel like, just when I tell my son, who's almost 18, come, let's have a talk, he'll be automatically like, I haven't done anything wrong. Do I have to really have a talk with you? What have I done now? And I keep on telling him it's not about having a talk about what you've done. It's about having a talk about what you intend to do with your life, what kind of friends you hang with, because I know all of his friends. They all are his childhood friends, and luckily I know all their parents. I have all their numbers, they have my numbers. So we try to keep a track on them. But still, nothing in life is guaranteed. As soon as your child leaves home, whether to go to school or college, or whether to go out for a basketball game or soccer or whatever, you still have that lump in your throat as a parent. You still have that ache in your stomach thinking that something would happen to him. Especially living in a big city like London, and with so many youngsters being knifed to death, you always do get that feeling. But the only thing we can do as parents is try and be friends with our children. Try and have the best communication with them, because that is the only thing that can save them to stay alive. It is sad that we have come to this world that social media has been such a negative influence. Children's brains are not completely developed till they're 25, 26 years old. That is a known fact in science, in the mental health department. We do believe that that's the reason there is an age limit for children drinking. I believe it's 21. And I believe that the gun laws and the gun age limit should be changed immediately. I'm surprised that they're even discussing about that. That should have been the first ban. There's a lot of news and there's a lot of talk about abortion and about the agreements and disagreements for or against abortion, which is an important topic that I wouldn't get into. But I find it strange that they're putting so much of their resources and their money talking about abortion, which is important to an unborn child should have the right to live if the parents don't have any medical condition or if they find mental health ways. That's my personal opinion. But, and I believe women should be entitled to choose with what they do with their body in a way. But I find it strange that they have so much time and resources to talk about abortion, and they don't even have time and resources to change the gun laws. Because what happens to the children that are already brought into this world? It is scary. If they are allowed to carry guns, like the boy in the Uvalde, Texas shooting, the one in the Highland Park shooting in Chicago on the 4th of July, and with all these shootings and mass shootings in schools, malls, just like the mall in Indiana recently. I believe the government should be more focused on that, just as they're focused on abortion rights. These children are already here in the world. They're the ones who need to be saved first. That's my personal belief. Because as long as young children are in the possession of carrying guns and getting guns, whether they get it legally or illegally, it will be obviously destruction itself. Because you have somebody whose brains are not completely developed carrying a AK-47, trigger warning, or even more deadly weapons. I was watching in one of the states in America, in the United States. I was just watching it, I believe, yesterday. I'll search for that clip. That the state was deciding to charge the parents of any child who commits any shooting crimes and all. I believe partly that is right because we as parents need to figure out what our youngsters are up to. But I believe the bigger picture is that the government should change the rules of the gun laws. Because as parents, we can't be everywhere 24/7 knowing what our child is up to. But if the government makes it more secure and the countries we live in make the rules more tighter for our children not to get weapons so easily, then at least that would be a bright start. I think that should be compulsory. That shouldn't be even a discussion. But we as parents need to focus more because our children look like they're endangered species right now. Sorry to say that. They're endangered humans. There is some kind of virus going around that all you hear on the news is violence, shootings, If children can't go to the malls safely, if children and adults can't go to their camping place, like the family of four, three of them were killed, the father, the mother, and the daughter in Iowa. Yesterday, I believe, 2 days ago, while they were camping, and the young man who killed them all in the mass shooting killed himself. So if families can't go in peace to camping sites in their camping home, if parents and families and children can't go safely to the food centers and the food malls or the shopping malls, that is really sad. It's really heartbreaking. I would advise everyone to have a good communication with your children, even if they're in their room and they're not doing anything wrong. Monitor their social media. We can trust our children, but we can't trust the creeps on the internet. Let's be honest. We can trust our children, but let's not forget, let's be mindful. Like I said, children's brain cells develop completely when they're 26 years old. So they believe they're making wise decisions, but don't we should look away from that and try and make the decisions for our children rightly. I would advise everyone, at least I personally believe, when I'm out in the malls, if I'm out in public, I mean, even going to work and coming back from work, being on the tubes, the underground and all, I always keep an extra awareness. Maybe that comes from being a mental health counselor. We are supposed to be aware of our surroundings. It just becomes a part of you, it becomes a part of your habit. But at the same time, I do that because for the last 3-4 years, from 2018, I've been just following all kind of news in UK, in Europe, in Asia, Africa, Australia, Canada, North America, everywhere that the violence seems to be rising. So I always try and check where my near exits are. I always try to sit towards a corner in the tube near the doors. God forbid if anything happens. And things can happen without a warning. When I'm in the malls, I try personally to stay as least as possible in the malls. I just go in quickly for whatever I need to one or two shops, and that is usually when I can't purchase things from that shop online and I know I have to go to the mall, or maybe I need it maybe just say more quicker, more urgent, and I can't wait for the delivery. Since I live in the central, I do once a while, even to get fresh air, I do go to the mall, but I try to be aware. I do it only when it's extremely important because I know that, God forbid, that's what I believe, sick people and people who are out for terror usually go to public places. Sadly enough, they would rather get as many people as they can. So that's what I try to go to local shops, in fact. I try to avoid supermarkets, especially I order mostly online, and that is due to, I think that became a habit for me when COVID epidemic started. Just to keep away from the virus and all, I stopped going out, and it's just become a habit for me to try and order things online. And I really believe it does help me and help my family because it's not worth going into the public unless it's something necessary. But obviously, we cannot avoid. We have to go to work, we have to go to colleges, we have to go wherever. But then at that time too, when I go to work and all, like I said, I try to just go directly and come back directly from work without making any other stops around, because there's just so much terrible things happening. We should teach our children even to always follow the nearest exits, nearest doors to get into safety. It does help, guys, to take breathing techniques so that in such situations you just don't panic completely. Obviously, that is an emotion that happens quickly as human beings to us. But when we start having anxiety and panic, it just complicates the situation and makes it worse. So it is really important that we know how to maintain our anxiety, our PTSD. It's important that we follow the exits, pay attention always to your awareness around what's going around your workplace. Try avoiding going out late, I would advise, especially in certain areas and even in areas that we think are safe. It was just 3 weeks ago. I remember walking down to my local shop. It was on a weekend. I was free from work and I just saw a whole crime scene. It was just like literally 10 minutes walk from me. There was a forensics team, the Metropolitan Police, Scotland Yard. They all were out with the forensics team wearing all their white clothes, and they taped down 3 to 4 streets around my areas. They weren't giving us much information. And then I read it later on in the news that there was a manhunt for 2 guys. A 40-year-old man got stabbed to death, but they did not disclose what it was about. But then I read it in another paper and it said that it was an 18-year-old boy got stabbed. So I don't know whether it was a 40-year-old man or 18-year-old boy. Whoever it was a tragedy that someone's life was cut so short. So that put me kind of in unease. I tried to go to the shops and get whatever for the household that I need, because usually I order online, but if I need, I've stopped sending my sons to even go to the shop, because just to keep them safe. We try to go out during the day and not in the evening, since this incident has happened, because it kind of opens your eyes. And it is a real safe area where I live, so it was shocking for all the neighbors. The whole community was just standing outside talking to each other, trying to collect information about what exactly happened. And everyone was saying the same thing: this doesn't happen here. This doesn't happen here. But that's exactly the thing, guys. We always think that this can't happen here. And things happen mostly at the most unexpected times and the unexpected places. Please look after yourself, look after your loved ones. There is so much violence, so much hate, so much anger, so much serious crimes going on everywhere in the world. I would advise people, at least when you're in public areas, not to have your headsets on and all, not to be busy on the phone or texting and all. Keep your eyes open because so much is happening. Guys, look after your mental health. Do breathing exercises. Do some CBT techniques that are really helpful for anxiety and depression. Try and maintain a timetable of your like your sleeping, eating timings, so that you'll stay physically and mentally healthy. And try not to isolate yourselves. Talk to people, talk to friends, loved ones, because by isolating yourself, that is what we work against in the mental health team. That is what brings mostly depression, anxiety, and other mental illness. It helps if you could get, actually, if anyone's depressed or has anxiety or has mental illness, listen to this clip. I would advise you all to think positive. It is really important because in cognitive behavior therapy, we believe that positive thoughts leads to positive feelings, like positive emotions, and that results to positive behavior. So it's really important to think positive. Others people coming to the stage where they don't have proper they have a low self-esteem. If you start thinking negative, it just leads you into places that would just destroy your life, kind of. Remember always that remember that you are loved. Remember that you are important. Remember, I always say to my clients, find at least 5 or 10 positive things about yourself and write it down. I encourage them to write what they like about themselves, what they like in life, and to focus less on the negative sides. It does really help. Because when you feed your brains with negative thoughts, when you start assuming that you're not important, that nobody likes you, then that can lead you into a very deep depression, where people usually end up isolating themselves, and that is not good. That will just get you into a negative process in life. If you think negative, if your thoughts are negative, your emotions and feelings become negative, and then automatically your behavior becomes negative too. You start isolating, distancing yourself out, or start being aggressive. All these things has to do with just change your way of thinking. Remember that you're important. Remember that you're loved. Remember that people care about you. Spend time with your loved ones. Spend time with your family. I have Sammy over here, my cat. He has to be in every clip I make these days. Sammy, do you want to say hi? Say hi. Say hello. Okay, sit. So guys, I would like to end this clip by wishing everyone well. Guys, make sure you take good care of yourselves mentally, physically. Think positive. avoid negative thoughts, because negative thoughts just they just lead us into situations where we can't bring ourselves out of. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you. Bye.